is my memoir. It is titled Straight Shooter. It'll be available on January 17th, 2023. This book is about my life before ESPN and since, of course, from my life growing up in Hollis, Queens, New York, to all the trials and tribulations I've had to endure throughout my childhood and adulthood, how I endured and persevered, scratched and clawed just to get to this point in my life. I touch on how I got left back in school, how sports proved to be my salvation. I write about so many mistakes I've made in my life and what it actually has cost me. Of course, I talk about my impact on the world of sports, so obviously you know I'll mention them damn Dallas Cowboys.
I'm waiting to see you go off on them Dallas Cowboy fans. That's what I want to see.
Hi, Stephen A. How about them boys?
Hi, Stephen A. I'm a big fan. I came from Nashville to New Orleans to see you.
Hello, Stephen A. We watch you every day.
All at your ball.
We're happy to be here. Thank you for coming here, hanging out with us, New Orleans style.
Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where the bullies get bullied.
How about the Cowboys?
How about them Bills? Buffalo Bills all the way. How about those Chiefs? Mafia. Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, my guy, I've been a fan of yours for like over a decade. I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to the South, man. This is going to be a wonderful time. Can't wait to see you inside.
We get a quick photo. Sure.
How are you?
Well, my memoir is out on bookshelves and it's all over the place. And it was basically my life story about a lot of things that I endured, what I've been through, and how my life experiences can serve as a motivation and inspiration for other people out there who thought the door was closed on them, who thought that the end had arrived and there was no upside.
About sports. So tell me a little bit about the Pelicans. Once we get back healthy, B.I. comes back, Zion comes back, where do you see it going?
I'm personally tired of people asking me about the Pelicans and their health. We all know, based on what we saw last year, that the Pelicans are fully healthy. This is a team that I ordained at the beginning of the season could be in the Western Conference Finals. They could be competing for a championship, one of the Final Four teams in the National Basketball Association. But damn, can somebody get healthy?
Now, my beloved Saints, where do you see Sean Payton going and why?
He should go to the Chargers. That would be nice. Don't know if that'll happen. I think Brandon Staley, the head coach there, should be gone. Sean Payton should be brought in, and he should be the guy overseeing the career of Justin Herbert.
Absolutely. And last question, what's one takeaway you want people to take away from your memoir, your book? Basically, it's all about your life.
They counted me out. They thought I was dead and gone. They thought I was finished. And I'm standing here today, and I'm not some fantasy becoming an American dream or whatever, you know, you're some billionaire or some superstar athlete or whatever. I'm just a dude that struggling, got left back, had a lot of struggles in my life, and I'm standing here in this position today, and if I can do it, you can do it too.
It's great to how I want to start this off because I thought it was one of the funniest quotes in this book, and there are a lot of them, but this one really kind of stood out to me. And it kind of goes with the playoffs going on right now. So a nuclear bomb could drop on us all, and you can rest assured three things will survive and ascend from the road: rats, roaches, and Dallas Cowboys. A lot of nuggets in it, and I just wrote down some of them. I don't want to give away too much of the book, these questions I asked. But one of the quotes you had at the beginning of the book, my story isn't always an easy one to tell. Why do you want to tell your story?
I was approached on many occasions over the last decade and a half to write this book. I did not want to write the book. I wasn't that interested. I wondered whether or not I had a story to tell. And my family and my loved ones were like, yeah, you do have a story to tell. And so for me, other than God himself, there's no one that I owe more to than my mama. And by the way, the book is dedicated to her, meaning the title of the book, Straight Shooter. That was my mother. She was a straight shooter, always. She didn't mince words. And my mother, in order to tell the true story about why she is worthy of being celebrated, inevitably I was gonna have to say why. I got left back in the third grade, had a first grade reading level. I went to summer school, got promoted back to my right grade, fourth grade, by that September. Went to the fourth grade again, went to the fourth grade, rather. Still had a first grade reading level, and got left back again. And this time held back for the entire year. That day when I got left back, and my father told my mother, He just ain't smart. If my father had said, son, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I was wrong. I need to be better. He didn't give a damn. He didn't believe in me. He thought that I wasn't smart, that I wasn't gonna do anything with my life. He felt like if I didn't end up in jail, that would have been an accomplishment. And, you know, he felt that I was devoid of intelligence. But I had my mother to help me. My older sister, Linda, who committed herself to helping me. A family friend named Tibber, who committed himself to helping me. A 7th grade teacher who noticed my potential, who helped me. In high school, I had teachers willing to help me. In college, I had professors who were willing to help me. A mentor was like a father figure named Robert DeVon who was trying to help me. A financial aid advisor who tore me a new one because he couldn't reach me when he had an academic scholarship for me. And I didn't answer the phone because I was too depressed because I had to leave the basketball team because I had cracked my kneecap in half and my basketball scholarship was going to be taken away. He had an academic scholarship for me. And I was blessed to have who I believe to be the greatest woman and the greatest mother that ever lived. And she refused to capitulate to that kind of thinking. She was like, no, that's not him. No, he can do it. He just has to work hard. He's going to. Just that kind of thinking, she was willing to defy him. And he was like, all right, go ahead, waste your energy, because he's not gonna do it. And so for me, I remembered it. I remember it being a laughing stock. You remember kids laughing at you. I'm different. I remember all their names. Every one of them. And this was over 40 plus years ago. And I still remember because I use it as a source of motivation. Later on in the book, I talk about elements of my career and how I grew. What everybody doesn't know is that at least one day away, I sneak away from everybody. I fly to Greensboro, and I go there just to drive the same route to Archdale, North Carolina, High Point. You understand? Come up the back road, up I-85, back to Greensboro, down to Winston-Salem, and I circle that whole area because I was making $15,300 a year when I first started out. And I just look, this is where I was, because I know where I am. And I look here and I say, goodbye. I'll only be back next year. Other than that, I ain't never going back to where I was.
With a huge platform comes a huge responsibility. And the Black community is first to remind you of that. As a Black man, as a Black journalist, how important is that for you to be the voice on social justice issues and issues?
I am not the voice. I am a voice. That's number one. Number two, I don't consider myself just a Black person. I'm a brother. I love my people. I love the way we look. I love the way we smell, even when we stink. I love the way we walk. I love the way we talk. I love our swag. Nobody on this planet has had it harder than Black people. And there is nothing that I would do to change my Black. Sisters look out for sisters. We've done it throughout history, even when we disagree and when we argue amongst ourselves, but somehow, some way, when we're expressing ourselves to people outside of our race, all of a sudden we question the authenticity of our race. Cool, sellouts, and all of this other BS that people want to say, wow, because I have the temerity to think a little bit differently? Nah, it ain't going down like that.
I never liked making enemies. I just don't care if I have any.
Yes, sir.
Where that is how we feel.
No matter what personality you see on the air, you can see me doing First Aid. You can see me on General Hospital. You can see me anywhere. My foundation is a journalist. I laugh at people who get on me because people disagree with me. It's just further evidence that you pay no attention to my history whatsoever. I am a journalist by trade. The number one responsibility you have as a journalist is to be in tireless pursuit of the truth or the closest you can get to it. Show your humanity. Be a decent human being. Okay? Be fair. And tell the truth as best as you know. I'm waiting for them to sit before me thinking that they can take me out. I'm waiting for them to come at me and think they're better than me. I'm waiting to humble them. They're not surprising me. I saw them from a mile away because in them I see me. And all I have to do is imagine who I was on the come up, striving in pursuit of excellence, knowing what I was willing to do to get to the top. And from that point, imagine that all of them are like that. The hardest sacrifices to make. Sometimes you gotta recognize that the best person to listen to ain't yourself. You gotta understand that there are other people who know more than you. And you gotta defer and lean on them a little bit to get a touch of their expertise. Everybody wants a cheerleader. Somebody that's there cheering you on, keeping you from falling in that abyss no matter what. All of that is true. Mentors are different than cheerleaders. Because mentors are those connected to the industry that you may want to get into, who are incredibly knowledgeable about things you have no knowledge about. It's amazing how people peel what words they want to peel and they're really not paying attention to what I'm saying. When I say number one, I'm actually giving you fact. My show has been the number one rated morning show for 11 consecutive years. My show has been the number one rated morning show every week and every month and every year for 11 years. The revenue in advertising and sponsorship dollars that has been generated has been number one. So when I say I'm number one, I'm telling you what I know based on the numbers.
I've watched you for my entire career and I have completely found bravery in your bravado. Thank you for helping provide a voice for people like me. The question I have for you is, with the emergence of new media, do you think that independent journalism is a good way to go, or do you think there's still some version of working within the larger sort of corporate journalism broadcasting industry?
Ideally, it's a combination of both. Sometimes independence is necessary in order to get to that core big-time network with the reach. In the age of particularly sports journalism, where you have these leagues that have contracts with the networks, et cetera, it affords you a level of access the typical person's not gonna have. And so because of that, along with the advent of social media, more than ever before, the athletes don't need you to get a message out. The only people they have to capitulate to in any way are the actual networks they have contracts with. If you're an independent, you have no association. And if you have no association, you're at their mercy. And if you're at their mercy, you're gonna be limited to some degree in any way of what you want to do. The independence, the need for independence is utilizing that as an opportunity to showcase your talents. The most important thing I would tell you is it's easy to make the decision when you've mastered your business. So before, when I went there, my definition of popularity was people screaming my name and me being on billboards and on the side of buses, and that's what I went to the negotiation table with, all right? And I got blasted. A few years later, different animal. These are my numbers, here are my ratings, here's the sponsorship dollars that I brought in, this is the revenue that I generate, where's my money?
I would love for you to also talk about something when I speak about sponsors. So sponsors being those people who speak for you when you're not in the room. That person who says, you know, Stephen A would be great for this next job before you even get the phone call. How has that influenced your career trajectory?
Oh, it's had a profound effect on it, and I will take it a step further. You're talking about sponsors. They're a combination of cheerleaders, mentors, all of that stuff. That's fine. But how about taking that a step further and let's have a conversation about real sponsors. When someone is sponsoring you, they're giving you something you otherwise would not have. So because they're providing you something you otherwise would not have, you have to be someone who's gifted enough to cultivate the kind of relationship that provokes them to want to support you. And in order for them to want to support you, it can't be all about what you want while you got your hand out for somebody else's money. I'm a perfect example about that. If you're an employee, you answer to an employer. If you're that elite executive employer, you still answer to the company. The company answers to shareholders. If you're a politician, you answer to constituents. If you are an entrepreneur who owns your own business, you answer to the IRS. Everyone answers to someone. Shoot for most of what you want, while understanding you will have to capitulate from time to time to what other people want when you need their dollars to subsidize your business and ultimately your quality of life. They respect you for it. But you always gotta let them know, whatever the grind is, I'm willing to endure it because I want it that bad, and make sure it's it. Don't tell them, I can do anything, I won't do anything. It's very vague. No, they're hiring you for what they want you for. When you go and you, last thing, when you go and you are being interviewed by an employer, know exactly what that employer is interested in you for. I want to do this. Let that employer ask you, well, I might not have that right now. You willing to do this? I wanted to be a sports writer. They told me I could have a job in April of 1993. They told me I could be a high school reporter for the New York Daily News. But the high school sports department wasn't starting until August. Stephen A., we need you to cover crime and homicide until then. Are you willing to do it? Hell yeah. As miserable as it was. Because I knew the end game. Know your end game. Y'all take it.
Thank you all. Please stay tuned for more conversations with creators. Baldwin Company is dedicated to building better communities, book by book, and using the power of books to inspire change in this world. So I just want to say thank you all for your support.
Great evening enjoying Stephen A. Smith and his perspective on being different and being at the forefront of thoughts that aren't in line with others.
The event tonight was really amazing. I mean, just even having the chance to speak to Stephen A. was in his own right just something I can never expect. I mean, coming for a guy that's close to graduating high school and is about to embark on a journey similar to Stephen A., I really hope that I can make this dream turn to reality. And with the advice that he gave me, it was amazing. I can't even lie.
The Stephen A. event was amazing.
I'm just glad I got to come out, and I'm glad I get to see the book, read the book, and find out more about his life.
This is a man like me. I grew up the same way, and his words inspired me because I believe the same way he believes.
This was a great event. I was really excited. It was actually an anniversary gift for my husband. We just celebrated 9 years, and I even bought additional books when I got here, just by being here.
Me personally, it's been a huge inspiration because myself, I am a journalist myself, up and coming, and just seeing a black man in that position of power with that type of hold and pull that he has, is a lot of motivation.
Always remain a student and have mentors around you to make it to the next level.
I think he's inspiring many of our youth today, and I look forward to what's going to take place in the future.
Biggest thing I took away is his transparency around his story, especially his upbringing and his education. I really appreciate just how raw and authentic he was in telling students and everybody what it took him to get from where he was, how he developed himself, and how he got to where he is today. Thank you, Stephen A. Appreciate you, man.